We love the support. Please come out, pack out the Rogers Center. It really makes a big difference. And, we're just excited to hopefully bring that championship back to Toronto in 2026.
Welcome to episode 366 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland, and welcome to the official start of the 2026 podcast season. We're going to have an off-the-charts campaign with the World Baseball Classic, the Pros, the CCBC, the WCBL, the new Women's Pro Baseball League, the Road to Okotoks, and so much more. We can't wait to bring you so many great stories and fantastic conversations in the coming days, weeks, and months, and it all starts right here with a trio, including Steve Hildebrand, Eric Hartman, and Tyler Heineman. But first, as we always do, the news headlines. And we won't go through everything that's happened over the last few weeks since we took our annual holiday break, but we'll hit on maybe some of the top headlines to get you caught up. A trio of friends of the show had some big news to share. Dogs Academy and Okotoks Dogs alum Gavin Logan has been invited to MLB spring training with the Arizona Diamondbacks after a really solid season in their farm system. You can head back to episode 357 to hear from Logan about his season. Vauxhall Academy grad and Bigger, Saskatchewan native Garrett Hawkins will also be going to main camp, albeit with the San Diego Padres, after he was lights out in High A and Double A last season. He was on episode 356. And in the Women's Pro Baseball League, Edmonton's Madison Willen has signed on the dotted line with New York after they drafted her back in November. She was on episode 362, and we also just posted a brand new story about her journey on our website. Also in the pros, the day we dropped our final episode of 2025 saw a big move for Dogs alum Tristan Peters. The Tampa Bay Rays traded the outfielder to the Chicago White Sox for a player to be named later or cash considerations. A day later, the Rays acquired Peters' former teammate in Okotoks, Jacob Melton, from the Houston Astros in a mammoth 3-team trade. So a lot of moving parts this offseason when you also factor in Michael Soroka going to Arizona and Matt Lloyd heading to Boston. Closer to home, construction season is underway for a handful of projects around the Western Canadian Baseball League. The Okotoks Dogs are adding a new section of seats beside the berm along the third baseline. The Energy City Cactus Rats are providing regular updates again on construction of their new stadium, which they hope to have open for this coming season. And a new section of seats is being added to Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field in Saskatoon. Steve Hildebrand of the Berries will be joining us in just a few minutes to talk about the latest on that project. On the commitment front, there have been a boatload of them over the last few weeks, but we'll give you a couple of highlights here. Friend of the show, Ethan Pittman of Fort McMurray and the Dogs Academy is heading to Lynn Benton Community College. Cedric LeBlanc of Vauxhall Academy is going to Northern Oklahoma College. AHP Academy's Jack Smitzel will join Crowder Community College. Jacob Halverson of Badlands Academy signs on with Williston State College. And in Saskatchewan, Going Yard Academy's Graydon Wilson joins Southwestern Illinois College. Our first 1 through 9 at SaskatchewanDugoutStories.com featured Wilson if you want to go back a couple of stories to check that one out. As always, if you have commitment news to pass along, make sure to tag us in your social media posts. And finally, Bob Elliott and Kevin Glue at Canadian Baseball Network have been hard at work compiling their annual Top 100 Influential People in Canadian Baseball list. Plenty of familiar names are getting their well-deserved flowers. Congratulations to all named, including John Arcandia, Matt Stairs, Jamie Campbell, Justin Morneau, Randy Gregg, Jason Dixon, Michael Soroka, Chris Rietzma, Vince Arcandia, Les McTavish, Stu Sherwater, Greg Bronze, Sherry Reiniger, and Elliot's Okotoks Angels of Angela Berger, Savannah Blakely, and Lou Pote. Once again, it's an honor to be included in this year's list as Ian and I rose to number 95. We are incredibly humbled to be recognized, and it's actually a credit to all of you for welcoming us into the baseball communities here in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and across Canada. Now on to this week's guests, and we'll head back to one of those most recent pieces of news. The Saskatoon Berries and Gordie Howe Sports Complex have announced an addition to Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. 352 new stadium seats will be installed right behind home plate ahead of the 2026 WCBL season. It's great timing given the team has been on an absolute tear the last couple of years, including a record-setting 2025, albeit they are looking for that first championship, and they'll also be hosting the league's annual All-Star Game for the first time this summer. We caught up with Barrie's president, Steve Hildebrand, this week to get a sense of the origin story and the scope of this project. Steve, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Big news coming for Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field. Walk us through your vision for this new section of seats and the overall fan experience.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing for me is, we've been looking at different ways to create another new experience at Cairns. I think that, people have come out in droves and really supported the Berries, and we wanted to create a new seating area for them. We the first time ever we'll have stadium seats at the ballpark. We're keeping the VIP section, which was very popular last year. It's just moved now to closer to the field and by the dugouts on either side. But realistically, this is just another step. We call it in just improving what we do and how we do things and the experience when you come to a Berries game.
Take me back to the very first time where you started talking about this particular iteration, because you and I have talked before about different ideas that you got for different, because you're in a bit of a confined area there, so you can't really do massive expansions, but what can you do within the confines what you got now? When did this one start to kind of take shape?
And I give a lot of credit actually to the people at Gordie Howe with this one. I think it definitely was a collective effort, but we had all kinds of ideas. We talked about shortening left field, making it a kind of a area out there. We talked about right and left field, making an area out there. Stands behind, the home run fence. We've been there. There was lots of really good ideas. I think this is the one where we just settled on that was kind of more of a premium seat for people to watch a ball game and have a great experience doing it. Be really close to the action, and again, brand new stadium seating, which I think will be really good. We've all kind of collectively worked together ourselves and Gordie Howe and the people from Ray Construction will be doing the project and just making sure that we got all our ducks in a row to make sure the project goes off without a hitch.
How important was that side of it, is making sure that you can do something that's, I'll call it short-term construction, but make sure that you can get things rolling quickly and then have it ready to go for May 30th?
Yeah, I think, it was obviously a huge concern of mine. Big season for us with the All-Star game and such, and obviously the start of the season at the end of May. But I've been assured, and, we'll see. I believe and trust the people we have working on it, and I think it'll be good. So we're looking forward to it.
Hopefully Mother Nature agrees with it. As much as we want a little bit of moisture for our farming and ranching friends, at the same time, if you can provide us with a little bit of warmer weather for construction season, not a bad thing either in my books anyways.
We'll take it.
Exactly. Out of curiosity, you mentioned the different ideas that you had in mind, and a couple of them involved maybe shortening the porches a little bit, that kind of thing. With this new alignment, does it change the dimensions of the field at all?
No, it doesn't change anything with the field or any dimensions. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. I guess we go from 58 feet from home plate to the where the stands were to 42 now.
Oh, okay.
So
it's not a big deal for the outfield fences kind of thing.
No, nothing with outfield fences or anything in the ballpark in particular. Might make some pass balls with guys coming home from third base a little bit more exciting. But and it's one of the things we talked about, because it's going to be a concrete wall with padding. And the padding will be, I think it's almost 3.5, 4 inches thick. So we feel it'll deaden the ball. We've tried a few different things, but we'll see. Time will tell. And as I said to a few different media outlets today, that if anything, it'll just make more exciting play on a pass ball.
Absolutely. You kind of mentioned it earlier. You're coming off a record-setting regular season. Would love another major push for the playoffs this year. And, of course, there's that big Midsummer Classic as well mixed into there as well. How important was it for you to make sure you make that splash ahead of this season particularly?
I think this is something we kind of looked at. We've always said, let's see what it looks like in our first two seasons. And what attendance is like and who's wanting what. We listened to our fans. We heard from our fans. They've obviously come out in droves for us. Both the first 2 seasons have been great attendance-wise, and I think for us it's like, okay, hey, people want this. Let's give them a little bit more and just a little bit better experience. And our goal is to keep executing and improving each year. And obviously on the field, Joe's done a great job with our team, and we don't expect it to be anything less than that. So.
I was doing a little bit of quick math before we hopped on the call, and if my math is correct, you've welcomed a little over 109,000 people to the stands for regular season and playoffs over the first 2 seasons. How impressed are you with the buy-in from the community over years 1 and 2?
It's really exciting. Obviously, especially year 1, I felt that it was going to be popular, but you never know until you go through it. And it's cliche, but we hit it out of the park. And I think our team here has done a great job from sponsorship to game day, promotions, everything we do on the field. Obviously, Joe with the on-field product. Everyone's done their job very well. And as I keep saying, and as I use the word executing, we just have to continue to execute the first-class experience that we do provide at Berries games. And it's just continuing to go. I still talk to people like, man, I've heard so many great things about the Berries. We've got to get out to games. I was telling the story this morning. We had a couple that went to the World Series in LA, and they went in their Berries gear and took pictures, and we had it out on our socials. Like, our merchandise is through the roof. It's everywhere. I was actually scouting a hockey game this weekend, and the guy in the penalty box was wearing a Berries hat. I noticed it right away. It's pretty cool to see. And again, we just need to continue to execute really well on a daily basis. But the people of Saskatoon have come out. I'm really glad they can enjoy it. Whether you're a baseball fan, non-baseball fan, come out, enjoy some good summer night, have a pop, hot dog, whatever we choose. Our Sundays have been extremely popular with the kids, where they get a chance to play catch with their favorite berry after the game. Our group does so many good things, and we'll just continue to do that.
Speaking of continuing, obviously you got your sights set on finishing up this project, but do you have others on the go or others in mind heading into the years going forward?
Yeah, I would kind of, I don't even know if we call this phase 1, because I guess phase 1 would be like, the concessions we did and all the upgrades we did to start when we started. You can call this phase 2. We do have some other thoughts in mind, but we're going to take it, slowly and make sure we're doing it properly. There's only so much room at the park for expansion, and we're going to work through those projects. But for now, this is the next step, and we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Final question for you here before we let you go here, Steve. How excited are you to get the season going and start welcoming fans back to Next Gen Patch at Cairns Field?
Super excited. Obviously, it was a disappointing end to a fabulous regular season last year. And, at the end of the day, it's hard to win. But, we feel that we have opportunity every year with Joe at the helm. And, we're just going to have to keep working at it, and excited to get things started again and seeing everyone back in the field with the new improvements.
May cannot come soon enough, Steve. Well, again, congratulations on the announcement. Congrats and best of luck with the construction and the upgrades, and we'll see you this spring.
Great. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Next up, we head to the pro ranks to catch up with Dogs grad Eric Hartman. He's fresh off his first full year of pro baseball after being selected in the 20th round of the 2024 MLB draft by the Atlanta Braves. The speedy utility man hit .240 with 5 homers, 42 RBI, and get this, 48 stolen bases in 89 games, 83 of which with the Single-A Augusta Green Jackets and the other 6 with the FCL Braves as part of a rehab stint. The 19-year-old Hartman suffered another injury late in the season, and he's been getting back to normal over the last few weeks. We chatted about all of it in this all-encompassing conversation. Eric, welcome back to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What a first year of pro ball it was for you. The numbers speak for themselves, but I always want to know first, how are you feeling about the year you had?
I'm feeling pretty good. I enjoyed the first season. It was lots of fun. Definitely learned the ups and downs of pro ball and how to keep my head on straight. So I think it was a big learning curve, but I think I handled myself pretty well.
I was going to ask about that. How did you find that transition, especially going from high school to the pros?
I thought wasn't as crazy as I thought it would be for sure. I think I had to give myself a little more credit. Playing with good competition in Okotoks and especially on the junior national team, definitely prepared me for the just the higher level of pitching. And yeah, I think going into it, I you just got to remember you're there for a reason. You got drafted for a reason. So I soon learned that and gave myself a little credit.
Absolutely. Looking back on it, what was maybe the biggest challenge or hurdle in making that jump?
Um, I would say just playing every day and learning that one bad game isn't the same bad game that you had in high school, and 0 for 3 isn't that bad of a day anymore, and just learning that it's a long season and you play every day, so it's a lot of time to fail, but it's also a lot of time to succeed. So
You definitely succeeded in one particular aspect of things. The number that stands out to me throughout the course of the year was 48 stolen bases in 89 games. How happy are you with that particular number?
I was pretty pumped. I thought it was really cool about just how efficient I was and also my just steal percentage and yeah, just choosing good pitches to run on. And yeah, I definitely wondered if I was healthy the rest of the season how much I could have pushed that number up. But I'm totally happy with the number and how that went.
We'll talk about the health thing in a minute, but first, I'm always curious about the mindset of someone who's able to steal bases. What's the key in your eyes to getting a good jump?
I would just say knowing pitch sequence and just picking your place to go. If you know the hitter's count or if it's a pitcher's count, and knowing maybe a off speed's coming or um, a fastball is coming, you're probably not going to run on a fastball, especially with a guy that's really quick to the plate. But we go over film beforehand, and I think knowing the pitcher's tendencies and if he's leaning, if he's not, if he has a leg kick or not, and it's kind of just trusting your reactions. But I would say just the preparation beforehand helps me to know what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. Looking back on the year you had, any highlights or favorite moments?
I would say opening weekend was awesome. I hit my first home run in front of my parents, and then I hit another home run walk off in the bottom of the 10th. So that all happened within 3 days, and yeah, it was awesome. So I think that was some of the most fun I've had in playing baseball in a while.
I was going to ask about that because hitting that home run in that opener, I didn't realize your folks were there. So how cool was that to maybe look out into the stands and go, yeah, this is a pretty surreal moment?
It was awesome. You can actually see in some video my first bomb. I'm pointing, coming around second to third. I'm pointing the crowd, and found my parents right away. So it was cool to see them smiling, see the look on their faces. So yeah, it was unreal. And then got to go to dinner with them after. So that was awesome.
I can only imagine. On the flip side of that, we've talked a little bit about it off air, and you kind of alluded to it. You had an injury earlier on in the season. You also had one late in the season as well. Walk us through that first injury first, and what was the process like? What was the injury, and what was the key to maybe turning that around and making sure that you're coming back with making sure you're hitting the ground running again?
I think, well, it was just I think I bunted and I was running to first. I beat it out and I just kind of stretched weird as I hit the bag and I kind of just strained my hamstring. But yeah, it wasn't like I completely pulled it, but I definitely like strained it a little. And so it wasn't good enough to play on. So they shipped me down to Florida. Well, first I had to go get a PPP shot. They spin your blood and put the plasma back in your hamstring, and then that kind of helps the healing process. And then Florida was just back at the spring training facility there, and we have great trainers and great people who look after me. So I just started hot tubbing every day and learning new ways to stretch my body without absolutely straining on it, and then just a slow build up from there. Gave me lots of time to, I think, really be really grateful for playing. And sometimes when you're in it, it's like, wow, I'm playing a lot. I'm really tired. And you can kind of almost get sick of it, and you kind of lose the fact that, man, baseball is a fun game. And I think being down there without all my buddies and kind of being a little alone gave me lots of time just to think and be like, wow, I do miss playing, and I'm excited to be back.
And you did so in spades, coming back in a big way, having the season you had right up until the first week of September. Walk us through that second injury because it was quite the doozy.
Yeah, I just kept, I thought my wrists were tired. I kept playing through it, kept wrapping my wrists tight. And then, um, my trainer finally thought, man, it's might be time to go check it out. And, yeah, I got a CT scan. Turned out my hamate was fractured. And then I, had to go through the decision of surgery or waiting it out, but I decided surgery and just get it over with, and then I won't have to worry about it in the future. And so I think that was the right decision. When the doctor opened me up, he said it was way more fractured than the CT scan showed. So I'm happy with that. And same thing, went back down to Florida, started slowly moving it. I got the people down there are great, and the trainers are awesome. So I trust them fully, and they helped me with a speedy recovery.
Funny story that you shared off air, and I want to do it on air as well. Someone in particular happened to know or maybe guess really luckily what the injury was right off the bat.
Yeah, I called my agent, Alex Hins, and I just told him. I didn't really tell him what yet, but I'm saying, hey, I'm hurt and I gotta get surgery here. And he's like, let me guess, it's your hamate bone in your hand. And I said, yeah, how'd you know? And he was just watching my game over the last week there, where I was like really hurting, and he said my strikeout rate went up, and I was like, wow, like that's unreal how you can see that and see my swing kind of changing just because I'm hurting. And he's like, yeah, I just been in the business long enough, and I can see it.
Very crazy, but cool at the same time. I need to get into that position at some point down the line. I got to tell you. So first off, how are you feeling now that you've gone through the surgery and you're back here at home?
I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, like it was definitely tougher with my hand because it's my right hand dominant hand. So, especially for a while there when I was in a cast and in a sling, I was doing a lot of things with my one hand, and putting socks on is actually tougher than you think. So, um, but I'm feeling pretty good now. Started When I started training, I was pretty not scared, but skeptical of how long it would take for my whole right side of my body to regain the strength of not working out there. But now I'm back and healthy and feeling good, and feeling pretty strong again, and hasn't bothered me in a while.
Awesome to hear. Coming out of the season, obviously, you have the exit interviews and discussions about what to do next so you hit the ground running heading into 2026. What were those conversations like for you, and what were some of the things that the team wanted you to focus on heading into the offseason?
Um, just really positive feedback for sure. They like who I am as a player, and they hopefully see me moving up. But one thing they wanted me to work on for sure was my arm strength. So I've been on a program, and I've been throwing balls as hard as I can. So hopefully that's been paying off when I go down. And yeah, I really have done on that and my shoulder care, and just giving myself a good opportunity to um, keep increasing in my outfield velocity, and also just cleaning up some things with my swing also, and just using the full field. I pulled the ball a lot, which is never bad, but just could sneak out a few extra hits when I'm two strikes and just could slap on the other way.
Mm-hmm. Talking to a lot of guys who are going through the pros over the years, they say the key has always been to be adjusting, small adjustments here, there, and everywhere. Is that something that you're kind of learning along the way as well as, hey, it's not necessarily about rebuilding the player you are or that kind of thing, but even the smallest mechanical changes could make a big difference in your game?
Absolutely. I think you just got to trust that, hey, your swing, you got yourself drafted. So there's no way around that. And yeah, people people are like, sometimes it's, you can't change your whole swing because that's what got you there in the first place, and you can keep making the small adjustments, and that's totally what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get better, but you got to remember who you are and how you got yourself there.
Absolutely. You were recently named number 24 on the Atlanta Braves list, top 30 prospects by Baseball America. A, do you pay attention to stuff like that? And B, what did that mean to you to see that you're rising up the ranks like that?
It's pretty cool to see. I try not to pay too much attention to that. I know that it's pretty neat for sure, and like I I look around and I can see dudes that, yeah, like I'm right with them. So you're never, but everyone's right with you too. So it's never a thing of you're better than someone. But I like that's why I play baseball. It's because you can, anyone at any given time, any given day can be the best player on the baseball field. So I think that's the cool thing about the sport, and that's why I just don't really bother and don't keep a concrete view on those things because I can change in an instant.
Just keep being the same, be the best version of yourself, game in and game out, and let the cards fall where they may. I like that approach. Speaking of, do you have any expectations of or goals for yourself heading into the new season here?
I would say play a full season for sure, and I know that's not something I can control, but I can do my best to prepare myself. And even last year, I thought I prepared myself great, and I just got unlucky with some injuries. But I would say play a full season, probably try to get up there in the steals again, and just hit the ball hard. That's it. Just keep my strikeout rate low and hit the ball hard. So.
Absolutely. A couple more for you before we let you go. First off, we've talked and focused a lot on the on-field stuff, but I'm curious, what's the ride been like so far for a pro? And maybe to tell us a fun story or two that you've had that you're going to look back on this last year and go, okay, that was pretty fun.
Like mentally, it's been like a roller coaster, but we've been learning how to handle ourselves, and especially like we got a good high school core that I'm like really really tight with, and sometimes we get on each other. And one funny story that I always harp on my buddy, my buddy Owen Carey, he's from New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. He's kind of like the closest thing I got to a Canadian because he played hockey growing up too. So one time he had a really great season too, and he was hot one week, and I was like, hey, like I wasn't really hitting the ball. So I was like, hey, what are you thinking when you're at the plate? Like thinking he was going to give me some like outstanding advice, or at least something I could bring with me. And he just looks at me. He's like, man, I'm just trying to hit the ball forward. And I almost punched him in the face because I was like, what are you actually talking about right now? So, but I guess when you get hot and when you're feeling it, it is actually that simple. So I definitely look back in that, and I'm like, okay, at the time, if you're in a slump, man, he sounds like a tool, but when you're hot, you can totally see where he's coming from. He was trying to hit the ball. So
absolutely awesome to hear that one. Final one for you here, Eric. Looking back on it, what's it mean to you to be a pro Canadian playing in the pro ranks?
It's always pretty cool. Like people don't expect much being up north, and they're always puzzled of who even came and seen you up there. So it's still definitely something to be proud of, and something to just always something to prove being up north. And I think just showing what I got every day's been just a cool thing to do, and to represent where I'm from, represent Canada, and just keep showing them what I got, and showing them that we got it up north too.
Well, looking forward to seeing you do that again in 2026 and beyond, Eric. Again, congratulations on all the success of last year. Congrats on all the success over the young career to this point. Continued success in the Atlanta Braves system. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And finally, we head to the big leagues for a first conversation with Toronto Blue Jays catcher Tyler Heineman. He was a big piece of that incredible playoff run, culminating with a memorable World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. And while they fell just short in a 7-game thriller, it lit another match under the baseball scene from coast to coast to coast in Canada. Heineman is hitting the road with Sportsnet anchor and friend of the show Jamie Campbell for the Weyburn Beavers Sports Dinner February 6th. Then the next night, they'll be in Swift Current for the Field of Dreams and Swift Current Minor Ball Night being put on by the 57s. Ahead of the event, Heineman was gracious enough to spend some time with us to talk about what he's bringing to the table for the tour, his love of magic, and of course, some Blue Jays chat. Tyler, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
How excited are you to take the show on the road, so to speak, and make a couple of visits to a couple of towns you probably haven't been before in Weyburn and Swift Current?
I'm real excited. Jamie kind of hit me with the opportunity, asked if I'd be interested, and he said, you can find a lot of Toronto, like Blue Jays pride in different parts of Canada. So I hear this is a very, very cold place. These two places are very cold, but and pretty secluded. But the love for the Blue Jays is very prevalent there. So I'm excited to meet people that live there and anyone that shows up and just talk to them and kind of get their take on Blue Jays baseball.
How cool is it, or how surreal is it maybe, that you play for a team that isn't just like a regional team? Like, this is a whole country that's got your back from coast to coast to coast. And like the Blue Jays, that's got to be kind of an interesting feeling as a ball player.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I think more than anything, this year has kind of shown how much support the whole like country of Toronto has for the Blue Jays. And, the fact that we made a deep run just, further emphasized how just kind of much buzz Blue Jays baseball can kind of give all throughout Canada. And, so I'm excited to see, the other side of Canada. And that's really not the other side, but just other parts of Canada that just to see how crazy invested fans are, just like they are in Toronto. So I'm excited about it.
Was there a moment during that run where you kind of all as a team, as a group, kind of went, okay, the support behind this team is kind of unreal? Like when you're getting, I'm sure, messages on social and that kind of thing around just how excited fans are across this country.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of started maybe late August more than anything else. The Rogers Center was being packed out pretty much on a nightly basis when we were in first place and kind of heading down that stretch, and it continued on until playoffs. So from a standpoint of, people being loving you and being all about the Blue Jays, it was fantastic. But I think it also helped kind of, I guess, get us into playoff mode before the playoffs started because the Rogers Center was packed out. And the games were high intensity games, but also having more fans in the stands is allows you to basically feel like it's a playoff atmosphere without it being a playoff atmosphere. So I think when it came time to playoffs, we had an advantage. Their team, like the Yankees, right? They always pack out Yankee Stadium. Dodgers, they sell out a lot. Seattle sells out a lot, and I don't think it's an accident that teams that have great fan bases are perennially pretty good, and usually make deep runs. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fans and just preparing the players for those type of situations.
Mm. You mentioned the cold and snow and going out east, that or going out west, that kind of thing. A little different than coming from Cali, eh?
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. I mean, I'm going straight from Canada to Florida, so I'm going from Cali, going past Florida, and then I'm just going to go straight to Florida for spring training because we report the day after. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to dress warmly enough for that, and then also not carry too much stuff with me to Florida because it's not going to be super cold in Florida.
That's got to be an interesting trip to try to figure out what you got to do with your suitcase. That's for absolutely certain. Speaking of that suitcase, Are there speaking notes involved? Do you have an idea in mind as to maybe some of the messages that you want to get across to the fans who are going to be showing up in Weyburn and Swift Current a little bit in a couple of weeks here?
No real speaking points that are in my mind. I haven't really been told exactly what I'm supposed to be speaking on, but I am what I want to get across is that how much I love the Blue Jays organization, kind of how they've taken care of me, and then just kind of share what Blue Jays baseball means to me, and hopefully hear a little bit about what Blue Jays baseball means to these people in Canada and just all over Canada or anyone that comes out. So I'm just really excited to meet fans and interact with fans. That's one of my favorite things to do, and yeah, just excited to meet new people.
Hmm. Is it kind of weird in a sense? They call it the Blue Jays bump up here, but in 1992-93, when the Jays won the World Series, there's this massive jump in popularity in baseball and registration went through the roof. Same kind of thing in 15-16 during that long playoff run. And there's a lot of talk in baseball circles in both Saskatchewan and Alberta about, 20% increases. Like how surreal is that to know that you can have that impact on the grassroots level as well?
I think it's amazing, right? Like I said, just the fact that a game of baseball can bring people together, whether they, are gathering from for social reasons and just watching the game or rekindling lost loves of baseball or, friendships that that brought people together when they were fans of baseball and then kind of went went away and then the run kind of brought them back together. It's a really cool thing, um taking a step back and looking at it from a further lens. We're not just playing a game of baseball for us for our careers, but we're representing an entire country, and there's a lot deeper meaning to that, you know on an interpersonal relationship kind of level.
Mm. You've got the interpersonal relationships and being able to talk to new fans and fans that have been around the game for a while. You also have an opportunity maybe to show off a magic trick or two. Do you plan on bringing a couple of things along for the ride to maybe sweeten the crowd up a little bit?
I gotta talk to yeah, there's a better than 50% chance I would think that would happen. Again, it all comes down to I got to talk to Jamie Campbell a little bit and maybe the Blue Jays, the PR staff, just to get the okay, but also, I don't really want to step on any toes or ruffle feathers. So that would be something that I'd be willing to do for sure. But I'm gonna leave that up to the people that are in charge of the event, so that I'm not stepping on any toes.
For sure. I am always curious about the stuff away from the ballpark as well. We pride ourselves here at Dugout Stories about going beyond the scoreboard and talking about the personality side of things. And I'm just curious, how does a guy get into magic in the first place?
Yeah, so it's a good question, but I also had a lot of time on buses when I was in my minor league journey, because but we bus everywhere. But um, I played in the Dominican Republic in 2015, and we had a rain delay, and I knew a very simple counting card trick, ones that your uncle probably taught you a long time ago, and you either forgot or it was cool in the moment, and then you forgot about it. But um, I knew that the Latin guys are usually pretty animated crowd in general. They don't really like being tricked or fooled, but they do, and they have a very good reaction. So it was a very simple trick, and I showed them a trick during a rain delay, got a response that elicited me being my thought process of, oh, maybe I should learn a couple more simple card tricks. And so I went back to my hotel room that day and then hopped on YouTube and looked up some beginner card magic and tried practicing from there. And then it kind of just grew from there.
Very cool. Do you have a favorite trick to you like to do?
I think it depends on, yeah, I do. I have like three or four, but it depends on the setting and the group that I'm in. If I'm, if I have a table and people are around watching, there's a trick that I like to do. If I'm walking up to people and I'm just in a straight crowd, there's another trick that I like to do. So I think the setting really matters in terms of what trick I want to do. But so yes, I do have like two or three favorite tricks depending on the setting.
And I'm not going to ask you for secrets or anything like that. I know magicians and the way they are about that. Um,
Uh,
Switching over to the baseball side, as soon as you're done in Saskatchewan, you're heading back south, as you mentioned. How excited are you to get things rolling for the 2026 MLB season?
I'm super excited. I mean, I think everyone on our team is excited. To say that last year was successful is an understatement, but there was a lot of unfinished business that we feel we could have that we need to rectify, and that just starts on day one of spring training, and so I'm excited to see the boys and get back with, even though it's a new group, and when we're without Bo and Scherzer and Bassett, it's gonna feel different, but excited to get back with the guys and kind of make our own way.
Mhm. What made that crew last year so special? You hear the voices after the final out, and it just you could tell that there was a special bond amongst you boys. What was it like? Was there one moment, or was it something that built throughout the year? I'm just curious about that mindset because it really felt like something special in there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been asked this question a lot, and so I've been able to formulate a pretty darn good answer. And the answer for me is actually two or three answers. Yes, I think there's a couple moments during the season that brought us together, but I think also getting like having a culture like we had in the clubhouse really comes down to performing and winning, and I think how you win, and for whatever reason we had a flair for the dramatic, and we really liked to come from behind and win a lot of games from behind. So I think early on when we started to win games, one particular moment would be when Bo hit a home run in the ninth inning when he pinch hit against Texas, in Texas, and I think it was a two-run homer that put us on top. We ended up winning that game. At that moment, I think we were like 28 and 32 or something not crazy good, just hovering around 500. And um, that was one of the first moments I think that we were like, oh, we can win at any point during the game. This guy was not starting. He was hurt, not hurt. He was like nursing a little bit of a back. He had to get scratched from the lineup. Was like, hey, I'm available for one at bat. Schneid's put him in. Boom, he gets it done. Like we can find ways to win. And then from then on, other guys, we somehow, we'd find a way in the seventh or eighth inning to scratch and claw and come back and, win some games. And it ended up just becoming that theme. And then we kind of created steam. And to make a long story short, like 30, 35, 40 wins in when you're coming from behind, you basically are like, all right, we're going to win this game. It's just a matter of when. And when that actually happened, when somebody would get a big hit, Vlad would come up, get a big double to start the rally, or Springer would, get a walk and start the rally, and then something would happen. It was just like, okay, here it goes. Here now is our time. It took 8 innings, but now it seems like it's gonna be the time, and then and it just kept rewarding us with success, and so we kept feeling that, and then it kind of brought us together. So that from a standpoint of playing and actually the performance out there, that was the biggest thing. And then you just got the guys, the collective group of guys did a really good job of being able to integrate, you know, pitchers and position players together. Usually there's clicks and cults and stuff during baseball season. But for whatever reason, guys like Chris Bassett and Scherzer bridged the gap with the position player group like Springer and then Miles Straw, Ernie Clement, and found a way to make it so that it was a team of 26 players really enjoying to be with each other instead of 13 pitchers and 13 position players.
Was such a cool run to watch and really something special, and hoping we get to see it all again in 2026. Final question for you before we let you go. Really appreciate taking so much time for us here. What's your message to Blue Jays fans heading into 2026?
We love you. We need you. We were very close to getting what the ultimate prize and what we wanted this year. It was a lot. It had a lot to do with you guys on why we had so much success. So we just need to continue to have that support. We love the support. Please come out, pack out the Rogers Center. It really makes a big difference. And um, we're just excited to hopefully bring that championship back to Toronto in 2026.
I'm excited for the start of the season and to see the season unfold as it does for you, Tyler, and for the rest of the team as well. Thank you again so much for taking the time. Best of luck this season, and we'll see you in Swift Current and Weyburn in a couple of weeks' time.
Appreciate it. Sounds good. See you then.
Thanks again to Steve Hildebrand, Eric Hartman, and Tyler Heineman for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as we have a jam-packed few weeks ahead to get ready for the season. Spoiler alert, next week's guests include Wetaskiwin's Matt Kootenay and Regina's Thomas Ireland as they talk about their seasons in AA and their big league aspirations heading into the new season. As always, a tip of the cap to our Platinum supporters for all they do for us and for the game. The Okotoks Dogs, Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment, and the Western Canadian Baseball League have been outstanding in helping us tell baseball stories in our province. For more on our tremendous teammates or to join our roster, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.